preparation for Bayou?
So we made some modifications to the robot. We switched out the intake for a completely different arm, and then we changed the coral from, instead of being like a spear that goes inside the coral, to changing it into a box that has a wheel that's on top of the box to make intaking it a lot faster and a lot easier.
We pretty much changed our intake system and the shooting mechanism to where we could score at all 4 levels of the goal. So we had to change our L1, L2, L3, L4 set lines based on the new intake, and then we also added new autonomous commands to go with it.
When we went to Rocket City, we had no climber, so we basically had to figure out how to put a climber on the robot that would actually be underweight and allow us to actually be able to, climb.
We kind of decided that was going to be one of the more important things for Bayou, is being able to hang, because that would have been crucial in Rocket City and probably would have got us a lot farther if we could have.
Sure, we knew we could get the hanger on there. We just had to cut some weight, and we definitely cut a lot of weight, and we were still kind of at the limit there. But we got a lot of that fixed and a lot of that changed. We did a lot of scouting on the teams we were going up against, since we had a better feel for the game now and how to play the game, and just got our feet wet at Rocket City. This way we were able to manipulate things a little bit better, I guess, and understand how the strategy worked between different teams, like the teams that were doing well, the ones that weren't doing bad, just being able to tell what was a good strategy and bad strategy in order to prepare for Bayou.
We completely scrapped Scout radios and went to a Google form just for temporary purposes so that we could get data easier.
The information taken on Google Forms was put automatically into a spreadsheet, and we could just see all the information in the spreadsheet.
Practice matches, they were pretty chill, honestly. We looked at a few of them. I know the scouts did a lot more work than I did on the practice match day. But yeah, we looked at them. We looked at what bots we liked the most.
For Bayou, I think we had more of a game plan coming in. We definitely knew a lot more what we were doing in Huntsville. It was the first time we were going there, so we really didn't have a clear idea of what we were gonna do. Bayou, we had more experience. I think that applies to any year. The first competition you go to is sort of like a testing field. You're seeing what works, what doesn't. And for the second competition, of course, you're well seasoned into the season, and you, especially for the drivers, as a robot operator, I know better what I'm doing. I know what buttons to push. I had new buttons coming to Bayou, so I knew what to do there because I had more practice. From the 2 years I've been driver, I think this is the best practice day that we've had. Bayou practice day, it definitely gave me a lot more confidence in what our robot could do. I felt going into Bayou that we would do really well. Practice day was pretty solid.
But I also felt a lot more prepared going into Bayou, which was the main thing. There's a lot more driver practice. We had an auto. We had all these other things. We knew our flaws going into it, and so it wasn't as big of surprises every single day or after every single match. Which that was until our last practice match where we might have broke the elevator a little bit, but it was okay.
Yeah, when the elevator came off its tracks, I thought we were screwed at that point too. I thought qualifiers was gonna go horribly. The bearing in one of the bearing blocks at the bottom of the first stage, or the outermost stage that moves, had gotten stuck inside the weight relief holes that we had on the outer stage that stays stationary. And so whenever that happened, one of the team's mentors from Rad Robotics, 7111, he came over and was like, this happened to us during practice matches. And so he kind of told us what to do, and all we had to do was loosen the bolt off that was holding that bearing in that got stuck in the weight relief hole, and then take a pry bar and just bend the outside piece of aluminum out and then everything fell right back into place. And so that was a lot better of a fix than I thought it was going to be. I thought we were fixing to take everything apart, and that was just going to end our whole qualifier day. So all in all, it was fun.
We definitely were watching the matches more, and then I was also listening to people talk about their robot and what they could do, like their main strategies.
This was pretty much my first year with not being on the drive team, but I could still sense the pressure that was there with like 54 teams competing. So it was definitely an intense environment, but our robot was much better than we expected it to be.
I was personally shocked because of how far we got. We were able to get so many ranking points. We got the highest we'd ever gotten in qualifying in the whole team's history. We ended up being a great ally, and I think we just were able to work with others really well. I really have to say that I was like nervous because we were right there in the top.
So we finished in 11 overall, 11 out of 55 in qualifications, which was really good for us.
And so like it kind of kept going through team after team, and we're like, oh, they might pick us, and then it got to this one team, Blue Ignition. We had just played with them in our last match. We won while still one robot down from the other team. We felt really good about that match. They seemed to really like us coming out of it. And so whenever they got up to pick as an alliance captain, like I kind of looked at Brandon and was like, they might pick us. And then I couldn't really hear anything because all the speakers are facing towards the stands, and we're back from that. So I just hear like mumbling. And then I just see Aiden walk onto the screen, and I got really excited because we actually got picked here.
Team 3468 Magnatech Robotics graciously accept.
Some of the build people immediately got to work on one of our shortcomings in like our last match or two. They got to make it so we couldn't get a coil stuck in us.
The Goonies getting rejected from the net. Still close match right here. Vertically separate the two here. We have 40 seconds remaining. Come on! We get 3 for the round and they're back in the game. Game time. 10 less than 10 points. Shot Michael. As you see, 90-67. Ascending to the surface. The Goonies are up off the floor. Will we get somebody else to join them? 3 blue robots there. 2 red.
And it was a really close match, which we eventually won. But that was a little scary to see the numbers that close. And then the second match,
Whenever we did that, I was driving, and I was kind of going a little bit faster. And whenever we do that, the elevator's still up a bit. We have chances to tip, and we tipped a little bit, and there was an algae there, and it sent us fully onto our side. And that was kind of it for the match because we only had one team really scoring.
Oh gosh. When the robot fell on its side.
I remember when the robot fell, I was like, no! which is really bad. And then yeah, after that we realized our robot couldn't get up.
And then we brought it back to the pit, and nothing was bent, nothing was twisted. Everything looked amazing. The elevator ran up and down. It wasn't skipping, and there was no like skips in the chain or anything like that. The intake arm was straight. The hex shaft that the intake arm runs on was straight. None of the motors had blown or none of the gearbox had blown, so everything was fine after that. And so I was like, okay, maybe we can do better.
The other team was playing really hard defense, while our defense spot just wasn't able to replicate the same on the other side. And so we ended up losing and getting sent home, which kind of sucked, but it still felt good that we had broken some records this year.
We did pretty well overall, I would say. Not as well as we hoped for Rocket City. We were back up at Rocket City, but when we got put in, we won every match up until the end there, almost. Or the end of the fourth round. So we didn't go as far in the playoffs as we did at Rocket City, but we were ranked higher, and we were in a higher position on our alliance going into the playoffs. And we still only finished one round off from where we finished at Rocket City. So I would say overall we did better in Bayou than we did at Rocket City.
Yeah, being a first pick is, I think, our second time in our history. Winning our first match in winners, and then at Rocket City getting into the third place alliance. It was like some really big milestones, and like I could feel proud knowing that. And even though it's kind of sad that this is how the season ended, I was happy nonetheless of taking the team as far as we could.
Well, there's lots of things that are next. We've got lots of recruiting to do for our 8th graders that are coming up.
I think what's next is, I know me and another business person wants to learn CADing, because CADing is great for a robot, and we also use a lot of 3D print designs for our giveaways, but business people don't make the giveaways. And I feel like if more people in business knew how to actually make it and design it themselves, our giveaways would be way better.
We plan on, if all goes well, developing an entirely new app for scouting, and this will hopefully sort through all this stuff better, visualize it better, strategize just better. Like we could analyze patterns better, and it would just be everything we've ever wanted.
To refine our code that we had this year, to make it a lot more smoother, and maybe add a couple of more autonomous spots.
How we can use limelights to our advantage, just cameras in general to our advantage, to have the robot have a better sense of the field.
Each year we do a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better, and that kind of goes back to one of those sayings that Mr. Lane always tells us: is winning begets winning, is what he tells us. So you're not going to go from 0 to hero overnight, but the more you win each step, you get better and better and better, and you learn how to stay there as you go. So it's improving in small pieces.
Our team has grown so much this year in the way we do things, especially this year with our seniors taking a big focus on computer-aided design and kind of laying out the whole design of this robot before the competition ever rolls in. And so I think we have great potential in this area, especially in our build group, for the future of our team to look more like some of the more professional teams with completely CADed robots, with very precision made parts and everything made to function with several steps ahead in mind, because we've in previous years designed as we went, basically. And I think for the future of this team, we're going to have much more functional robots since we're relying more on design and getting the students involved in kind of being creative with how we design our robots.